Hello, hello, and welcome to BongaDadaBonga, BongaDadaBonga, BongaDadaBonga. Yes, here we are. We're on episode number 52 of BongaDadaBonga. Could you believe that? We're in the month of May, and May is also the anniversary month for BongaDadaBonga. You know, we started this thing, it was a year ago around this time. All right, I am Dashanaba King, along with correspondent Teresa Kemp. She's on leave, but we serve as commentators for the show. And from time to time, we bring on show anchors and show co-anchors. Tonight, I'm happy to say that we do have in studio our co-anchor expert, health and wellness expert, Coach Rukaya. She is with us tonight, and she's going to speak with us on a few topics. Let's have a chance to say hello to Coach Rukaya. Coach?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, family, the global family. Glad to be here. Welcome, everyone.
Okay, and also we have one of our guests in studio tonight. His name is Albert. Please say hello.
Hello, everybody. Albert Munde here from Nairobi, Kenya. Welcome. We shall discuss a few issues in a few.
All right, thank you for that. Please please mute yourself, Coach. Please mute. Please mute.
I don't know how to do that because it's going to disconnect. I tried to mute.
But if you don't mute, every time you move, we hear you knock out the sound. Every time you move a piece of paper, we hear it all.
Okay. All right.
So you've got to mute when you're not speaking.
Okay.
Please. Yeah, it won't give us a good broadcast. Okay, thank you for that. So what we're going to do this weekend, especially tonight, we're going to be taking a look at some of the activities that happens in the month of May. And we're also going to bring you some top news from around the country. And we have two guests in studio who will be telling you about what they do. Yes, indeed. They'll be telling you about what they do. So what is BongaDadaBonga? It's really a platform for women's voices. It's a site, a point, or a space that strives to amplify the voices of women and survivors who have been silenced historically. BongaDadaBonga joins a growing list of service organizations around the world, places like North America, Latin America, the Pacific Rim, and of course, here in Africa. On BongaDadaBonga, you're going to hear phenomenal stories, extraordinary stories from women and girls and some men too. And some of these stories are really going to touch your heart. Okay. You're going to hear great stories, like we're saying, and a lot of these stories are just going to touch your heart. And that's what it's about, hearing what's going on from women's voices around the world. Each and every one of the people we bring on the show, we consider to be a hero or shero in their own special way. And we're honored and we're proud to bring them and their stories with us here and to you on the show. So now, Coach, what can you tell us about BongaDadaBonga? Why is it important?
Well, for me, BongaDadaBonga, which means Speak Sister Speak, is a platform that allows the woman to demonstrate how powerful they are. It's a self-empowerment platform. It's a platform where everyone can speak or have an opportunity to share some intimate things within their soul and spirit that may perhaps at some point assist others in becoming empowered. Bonga da
Yes.
bonga seeks
Yes.
to release the spirit and the soul to free one from any traumas and duress or bad experiences that is occurred that may be hinging on hampering their evolution of self, because we're all imperfect souls and we're here to evolve into perfection. Some
Mhm.
of us depart the planet unable to fulfill the compromises, the promises that they made, the agreements that they made with spirit, infinite intelligence. Bunga Dada Bunga, a platform in which we determine whom we choose to be. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for that, Coach. She's just giving us a little background on what the show Bonga Dada Bonga itself is really about. And I'm just going to give you a little bit on how it actually works. So we
Okay.
bring in various women in leadership roles and influencers. And what they do is they come on the show and they moderate the show as host, co-host, or anchors, co-anchors. I and others like Nana, Teresa Kemp, we are correspondents and producers. So we kind of like stay in the background. We come forward when we need to and have to. Okay, but pretty much, like I said, we bring on others to be host and co-host from the show, and they just come from a very colorful background. I mean, they could be campaign managers, activists, uh, political analysts, politicians, various women organizations, and they will deliver for us their opinions and their commentary and analysis on matters at hand. All right, so now we're going to turn our attention to a little news. A little news. Please excuse the noise in the background. We cannot stop it. I believe it is a smoke alarm where the battery has gone bad. So just hang
Yes,
in there with us. Thank you
we
very much.
apologize. We're waiting for someone to come and change out the batteries, and so you are going to hear tweak, tweak, tweak every now and then. We humbly apologize.
Thank you. Thank you. We're happy to know what the tweet is. Headline news: the U.S. has denied Russia's claims that it is the mastermind behind an alleged drone attack on the Kremlin. The White House said that the U.S. had no involvement at all, adding that the Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov was lying. Ooh. Russia has accused Ukraine of carrying out this alleged attack with Washington's support, claiming it was an attempt to assassinate Putin, who is Ukraine strongly denies this claim, arguing that it is a pretext for Moscow to just escalate the war that's going on. Well, there is still more to be said on that. CNN, jurors with CNN have reached verdicts in the seditious conspiracy trial of 5 members of the Proud Boys who were accused of conspiring to forcibly prevent the peaceful transfer of power from then President Donald Trump to Joe Biden after the 2020 election. Jurors have deliberated over 7 days. Defendants Ethan Nordian, Joseph Biggs, Zachary Rell, Enrique Carrillo, and Dominique Pezzola. They all face a range of charges, including 3 separate conspiracy charges. Now, out of Abu Dhabi, when Iranian evacuees from Sudan were being flown out of Saudi Arabia on Saturday, a top Saudi military official went as far as boarding their plane, taking them back home to bid them a farewell. This is your country, the kingdom's western region, the commander major general said. He declared to the Iranians as he was departing that they indeed were at home and that Iran is in charge And they said to them, if you need anything in Saudi, you are most welcome. Iran and Saudi, they are brothers. Well, there's still a lot more, ladies and gentlemen, to be said on that one. The next piece of news for you is how 65 Iranians evacuated from Sudan by the Saudi military were welcomed by the Saudi Red Sea of Jeddah with flowers, images of which were broadcast on both the Iranian and the Saudi state televisions. This is something we don't often see. And so they were told that they were having a friendly welcome for the Iranians from the directives of the leadership of the Crown Prince of Saudi. Asian History Month. Since 1990, the U.S. government has designated the month of May as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And during this month, we're celebrating the achievements and contributions of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders in the United States. The theme for this year's celebration is community coming together, strength in unity. Okay, thank you for that. One more piece we want to speak on, and that is how the month of May was chosen to commemorate the immigration of the first Japanese to the United States in the month of May in 1843, and to mark the anniversary of the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad on May 10, 1869. The majority of the workers who laid the tracks were Chinese immigrants. All right, and again, taking a look at Asian American History Month. The 2023 Commission on the Status of Women, which is the largest UN gathering on gender equality, successfully wrapped up on Saturday with members calling for full and equal participation of women and girls in the development of digital technologies. In Abuja, Nigeria, Nigeria's Food and Drug Administration says it's investigating the popular Indomie brand of instant noodles following the recall of this brand in Malaysia. Health authorities there said that they detected a potentially cancer-causing substance. And so therefore, Nigeria's Food and Drug Administration is taking swift action to analyze samples of the product as well as its seasoning, and will also scrutinize other brands of instant noodles offered for sale in Nigeria. All right, that is our news for tonight. Thank you for tuning in with us for the news for tonight. And that's interesting because those noodles are sown not only in Nigeria, they're sown throughout Africa. I know I find them right here in Nairobi on the east coast of Africa. I've seen them in Tanzania. I've seen them in Ghana. I've seen them in Liberia. And of course, America has its own brand, but we do know that the Japanese brand of the noodles are also found in America. So be on the lookout because there's been a recall. Very well. Okay, we are expecting another guest in the studio tonight. They haven't shown up. They're constantly sending me messages. I'm going to do something I don't normally do, but I'm going to call them during the show just to tell them it's okay for them to come in. And my WhatsApp is spooling, so I can't send a message there. So I'm making a phone call.
Queen, we forgot to speak about the topic of Cinco de Mayo, where the Mexicans liberated themselves, liberated the French. Cinco de Mayo is a Mexican holiday that is celebrated in the United States and abroad. A lot of people think that they celebrate the independence of Mexico, but in fact, the independence of Mexico, September 16th, lost my notes.
Yeah. So I'm just giving him a message to connect his
5th of May, which Cinco de Mayo means. And it's a fun celebration, and The Mexicans go all out, and there's festivities and costumes designed around the celebration. I lost my notes, and so I can't give you a particular detail about Cinco de Mayo. Queen, do you know?
Well,
Well, okay, hold on.
yes, I can speak a little bit about Cinco de Mayo. One of the
Cinco de
things I've
Mayo.
learned about
One of the first recorded times Cinco de Mayo was observed was in 1863. Mexican miners working in California's mine fired their guns, set off fireworks, sang patriotic songs, and gave speeches in a spontaneous celebration of Mexico's defeat of France. Cinco de Mayo gained popularity in California during the 1940s. The Mexican American population growth and the start of the Mexican American civil rights movement, the Chicano movement of the 60s, organized by Cesar Chavez, the liberator of the Mexican in California. The recognition of the holiday spread throughout the US in the 1950s and 60s. By the 80s, advertisers popularized Cinco de Mayo as a reason to celebrate as a reason to celebrate. Many people take this day to enjoy Mexican culture, food, and music and dance, especially in parts of the US where there's a large concentration of Mexican Americans and Mexican
mhm,
populations such as Los Angeles,
mhm.
Chicago, Houston, New York,
Yes, yes,
Cleveland, Boston, Indianapolis, Raleigh, Dallas, San Antonio, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Miami, Orlando, Denver, St. Paul, Phoenix, Philadelphia, Tucson, Arizona, San Francisco, San Jose, and San Diego. Popular ways to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo has become more commercialized in the United States
mhm,
versus Mexico. It isn't a federal holiday in the US like it is in Mexico. Many Americans see Cinco de Mayo as mainly a drinking holiday with popular drinks as tequila and margaritas, but it is more than that for many. It is more than that for many Mexican Americans. It is a time to celebrate their traditions,
yes,
culture, community across the country. Cinco de Mayo celebrations include Mexican music, traditional
mhm,
dances, costumes, along with Mexican food,
mhm.
decorations, including the Mexican flag in cities, as we mentioned above. I
Okay,
believe you have gotten the idea as to what Cinco de Mayo is, but Cinco de Mayo is a very serious holiday for the Mexicans, and it's not only about tequilas and margaritas. It is much more about their liberation and their willingness to fight for their struggle and liberation in Mexico against the
yes.
French invasion. So thank you so much for allowing me to share, Queen. Back to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. And I will say to you that I can recall celebrating Cinco de Mayo not when I was a child going to school, not when I was in high school, not when I was even in college. It was after college, after my BA, I should say, that I began to learn about Cinco de Mayo. And I've celebrated it many years living stateside. And I've even gone to Florida for major events happening there around Cinco de Mayo. One interesting fact about the holiday is that more beer is consumed at Cinco de Mayo than is consumed during America's football season. More beer is consumed at Cinco de Mayo.
Queen, you
Yes.
breaking up. You breaking up.
Okay. Sorry about breaking up. I don't. It's clear on this end. But anyway, what I was saying is, it's interesting that at Cinco de Mayo, more beer is consumed during that holiday than any other major holiday in America. Even for what is it, St. Pat's Day, where they turn all the rivers green and drink green beer. Cinco de Mayo, they drink more beer than all of that. How about that? Well, those are just some little facts for you as we are expecting our other guest. Let's see if we can get him in now.
I also wanted to talk about this week is Maternal Mental Health Awareness Week.
Okay,
And
so right now we're going to go to our guest and we'll come back to you after we have our
okay,
first guest. Very well. Okay, so now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to introduce you to a guest in the studio. This gentleman, his name is Albert. Albert Mwindi. Albert Mwindi. And it was only about a week or so ago that they sent me Albert's bio. And once I read about this young man, he gave me chills just reading about his story. Well, what is it about his story that gave you chills, Queen Mother? He's from a remote village in Katui County, living on the edge, to becoming a college graduate, and now he's an entrepreneur delivering cutting edge software solutions. Albert has a story that's going to knock your socks off. And I'm not going to tell you the story. I'm going to allow him to tell you the story about growing up and what happened for him with his family and how he got to Nairobi and what he did once he got to Nairobi. Over to you, Mr. Albert.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on the show again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just like Queen has said, growing up, it was not rosy. Uh, Kitui is one of the counties in a semi-arid area in Kenya for our international uh, audience. And so normally uh, it's a place where there is a bit of poverty. To add on that, of course, my family was not, functional, dysfunctional in a way. My mother and my father weren't together. So, of course, going to school was a very difficult process. And at some point, my mother passed on and was taken up by a well-wisher, a
Mm-hmm.
woman that I respect to date. And that is when, of course, everything seemed very, difficult to happen. No hope. Looking at it, I couldn't even plan for tomorrow. Lucky enough, of course, I had given my life to Christ, and even when things seemed not to be going my way, I just surrendered and believed that, of course, God will deliver me. I went through high school through donations, support from government, CDF, and the like. Finished high school, was sponsored to go to college. That is the first time I arrived in Nairobi. College was not very easy also. The city was big for me, of
Uh-huh.
course. Coming, from the village, you get to the city and it's so big for you. Anyway, I had to adapt very fast. So while still in college, I was able to open a small business so that I can actually, cater for my upkeep while at college, uh, working at spare shops and the like. So anything that could provide a meal or some bit of comfort while at college, you know, was something that I would go for. Then I graduated, uh, went to the banking industry, uh,
Mm-hmm.
interacted with many people, and of course, I was very much determined to succeed. Having come from a very poor background and having no one, of course, to turn to, the only
Mm-hmm.
option was to just make it. There wasn't
Okay. Okay.
another option. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
when this opportunity came along, I was able to push through. Uh, of course, banks. It's a very competitive and strict industry. Uh, was able to adapt. through that, I met many people and
Uh-huh.
of course got many offers for jobs and the like. I think they liked what I was doing. And that is when I began to work for an ICT company. And that is when I
Mhm.
was introduced to Microsoft ERPs and what they could do for businesses.
Okay.
So after a few years, got a business partner, opened up a company. But along the way, 5 years operating it, I realized that we weren't, standing on the same ground. Our beliefs
Mhm.
were very different, and we couldn't continue together. So I left and left that company, went back to employment. A
Mhm.
few
But
years,
before we leave there, that's a
yes.
very important point that many times an entrepreneur has to go through, right? And the
Mm,
important point that we're talking about is sometimes what happens in the business is the partners have a falling out, just like boyfriend and girlfriend, just like husband and wife. And so when you and your partner had a disagreement, did you did you also split up the company or did you walk away from it? What happened? Or can you share it?
yes. Ideally, when we were not able to agree on some fundamental issues, the easiest way was for me to just leave it all. So I just left it all. I did not want a legal process that would hurt the clients that we had acquired over the years.
Hmm.
So leaving it and leaving the clients for him to serve was the best way for my peace and also for the service to the clients. I didn't want them, getting stranded for the services just because the two of us were unable to
Uh-huh.
agree and move along.
To see eye to eye. Okay. Okay.
Mm.
So then, interesting. In your case, you didn't ask for any percentage of the money. You didn't
No,
ask for
no,
any percentage of the company. You didn't
not
want any of your investment back. You just wanted to walk away clean. That's
yes.
beautiful. That's beautiful. One day I want you to write about what you were feeling when you went through that, because that is a lesson for a lot of entrepreneurs. They say you have to know when to roll it and you have to know when to fold it. You have to know
Mm,
when to walk away and you have to know when to run. And so, you, my young man, that's part of what he did, Ra, in his life that just had me so excited to have him here on the show. He actually started a business with someone 5 years down the road. It got funky. And Brother Man just wiped his hands clean. He did like Pilate. He said, I have no fault. I want no part of it. I want to let it go. He just let it go just like that. All right. And like I say, Albert, maybe one day you can go back in your own mind and recreate how you were feeling at that time to encourage other young entrepreneurs who may be going through some of the same things and how to deal with a good relationship gone bad in
mm,
business.
mm.
In business. Okay, if you could
And
pick up your story from
may
there,
I
go
add
ahead, Rob.
something?
Sure.
And in poker, you have to know when to hold and when to fold. And so that was very smart of you to fold and move on. Oftentimes, people get caught up with what they are going to lose or what is going to happen or how much should I put in. But ultimately, what matters most is your peace of mind and
Exactly.
inner tranquility and your sense of
Ah, excuse us. She just popped right. She
others.
popped right out, and
It,
that's
it,
interesting because
it may
okay,
look
she's
to
back in.
others as if you're walking away from richness, but no, you're walking away for the sake of your inner peace. And if it means abandoning everything, then bye bye. Serenata, hasta luego, catch you on the next ride. So I have learned that because I have 7 children, because I had to walk away from my marriage that I thought I would forever be married, because I am from my mom and dad divorce due to his challenges. Um, and so I always vowed that when I got married, it would be I would not put my children in that predicament. You know, a lot of people in Africa, it is stated that there's no divorce. There is no such thing as a divorce. And in particularly and especially if you have children. When you have children, you can walk away, but the children are there wanting and waiting to see what is going on. And really and truly, the one that suffers the most are the children. And
Always.
so, what I had to do, understanding that I was walking away, I had to overcompensate and always be on alert to ensure that my children's mental state of being was stable, that I extended village to ensure that they get a balanced situation. And lastly, to ensure that their spiritual soul remain connected, I joined Hillside Chapel and Truth, contrary to their dad's belief in Islam. Well, I knew that my granny raised me as a Methodist, and all I knew was hymns and things that kept me centered. And so uh, I stepped out of the situation and ensured that they were in uh, maybe perhaps not a Christian, a metaphysical experience where it was neither this or that. It was what it is, spirit. So, yes, you must learn to know when to fold and when to hold. Very tricky because oftentimes people are bluffing, but you are the only one that know what cards you have. And so you are the only one that can make the call, bluff or not. That's all I have to share.
Okay, we're coming back to you right now, Albert. And thank you, Coach, for those words. So you were telling us, that you had now split up with that business, and now you were going back into the work world.
Yeah. So yes, that happened. A few years after that, I was able to start afresh, start again.
Hmm.
Of course, the social capital was there. The trust that I built within the market still there
Hmm.
and intact. So using that, I was able to start afresh. And now we are building a brand that is to be trusted in the market to provide the best softwares in the world.
Uh,
Hmm.
could you share, give us a little synopsis of how you felt when you made the decision to step away and how it impacted your financial livelihood?
Ideally, it was not a very easy decision to make. It wasn't a small investment. I had, of course, put a lot of dependency on it. And so leaving it was a very difficult moment for me
Hmm.
and also for my family because I just gotten married, and we were finding it very stressful when there are wrangles, within the workplace. So the environment was toxic. The decision to move was very difficult. The decision to, just let it go and go back
Uh-huh.
to being salaried. You used to paying salaries. Now you're going back, for the same. And of course, you're getting even less than you used to pay people. So,
Hmm.
yeah, that was something. But immediately after I left, of course, the income was very little. There was a lot of struggling within that period, but it was peaceful. It was struggling peacefully, and I think it was a good decision. I would make it again.
Uh-huh. All right. So then, after you left the company with your partner, and you went
Mhm.
back into the, shall we say, into the working industry, what work were you doing at that time?
Uh, with my experience in the software development and also my experience with Microsoft products, I got a job with a company which didn't understand anything to do with Microsoft ERPs. So
Mm-hmm.
they were looking for someone very different. But when they called me for the interview, they realized that I had a lot of experience when it came to the Microsoft ERPs, and so they began a new department for me to add
Is
to.
it?
Yes.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's starting with the partnerships, creation of the product line, and pushing it to the market. That is what I was doing.
Hmm. So the businesses you're working with, were they mid-size, were they SMEs or major corporations?
No, they were uh
Businesses.
medium companies. Yes, medium
Okay.
businesses. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Do you do anything with SMEs?
Yes, a lot with SMEs. Ideally, Microsoft ERPs are not very. They are good systems, but not very expensive, and so
Tell
there is
us
a
what
lot.
that is. We don't know what a Microsoft EIP system is. What is that?
That is
If it can be explained, I don't know.
okay. All right. Ideally, they are softwares used to automate business processes or an
Okay.
organization process. Uh,
Okay.
Taking an example of a typical company, you would need to manage your employees. So you need to have human resource management that will, of course, get people managed, their case management, the payroll management, self-service portal. You will need to do your finances right so that, of course, for auditing purposes and returning with the authorities is done well. So finance also comes into play. You need to relate very well with your customers, and so you need customer relationship management system that will enable you to of course go to the market, listen to the people, push your product to the market, and be able to get feedback from the market. Documents are very key in any organization, so you would need a platform that will enable you handle your documents in a
Uh-huh.
professional
Uh-huh.
manner and save you time. So
Mm-hmm.
all those systems I've talked about are put in one centralized database or place such that they interact together to give you the results that you would like. For example, someone in the procurement buying stationary, they do not need to go to finance for uploading of the requisition. When someone does it on the procurement department, then it is paid by finance. The process is seamless. So that automation of any business process is on all the business processes together, interacting seamlessly as though they were one body. That is what an ERP is. In full, it's enterprise resource planning software. Some other people would call it management information system. So those are the systems that automate many of these businesses. But
Mm-hmm.
of course, beyond that, there are other things like e-commerce and the like that go
Mm-hmm.
uh, very well with the MSMEs in Kenya. We're talking of e-commerce platforms. Uh, 48% of MSMEs in Kenya are owned by women, I would say, and 30% of our GDP comes from MSME. So that tells
Okay.
you how
Okay.
many businesses are being operated by women and
Mm-hmm.
how they are impacting our GDP as a country in Kenya. And these people are facing problems like access to capital, uh, problems like access to market, problems in social and cultural barriers. So we might not be able to tackle all of them, but at least for the access to market, that is something that we are doing as a company to
I
ensure
see. Very good.
to
How many
ensure
female, if I could ask you this question, if I may, and I specifically did want to ask, do you make a special effort to do business with women and make sure that your systems, that they understand the systems and that they're using them in their businesses, or do they just come to you?
ideally we make a consulted effort
Okay.
to ensure that this space of people, women, and also in the MSME sector, whereby the major companies providing softwares they do not look at them because they do not have big budgets, they do not have much
Hmm.
money.
Hmm.
So we actually came into that space as one a give back to to the community. Women are very special people in my life, I would say. So that is part of a segment of the market which has been left out in terms of automation. And as
Hmm.
you'd look at it now, you can't drive any business without technology. So we have actually a department that is running on MSME, looking at
Hmm.
the small businesses that cannot buy the Microsoft ERP. So what do we do for them? We provide them with things like e-commerce platforms, enables
Okay.
them to lift off their commodities, uh, put the prices there, integrate their platforms with social media so that they are visible. Can they be seen? We train them on how to handle the social media platforms, how to promote them, so that when they are out there doing business, they are visible, they are seen. Then, of course, with the e-commerce, we give them an international market. You don't have to be local, because if someone is looking at your goods and is from wherever country, they are able to buy from you regardless. So that is one of the problems or challenges that you are dealing with in this market. And you'd realize that even when the monies are not as much, when these people succeed, then of course their businesses expand, and eventually they will also buy the ERPs that the big corporates are buying. Uh, it's a win-win for the community
Uh-huh.
and for anyone who is playing in that space.
So can you talk to us about the bulk mailing project, or is it too soon for that?
No, yes. Looking at MSME, we want to smoothen the process which they do business. And so one of the ways that we've done that is through bulk emailing and bulk SMS.
Hmm.
You need to talk to people specifically. People need to feel that you're addressing them and you're seeing them in your
Hmm.
business. So
Okay.
we've come up with an SMS platform whereby we enable them to, one, do the marketing, the normal marketing, the contacts that you have. You will of course broadcast SMSs to 500 people that have new stock in my shoes stores located this place, this place, this place. Call us on this number and this number and this number, and broadcast to 500,000 people. Of course, you'll have increased your ways of marketing, which is very key for
I
expansion.
see. I see. I
Yes.
see. So
When these
it's
people,
interesting. It's interesting, Albert. At one point, I used a lot of email exclusively, but now I'm using other platforms even more than email. I don't even get to go to email. Well, I have to go to email every week because I'm um, posting into Facebook and places like that. But if I don't have to go to email, I wound up not going. I think I have a lot more contacts in email than I do on my WhatsApp and my Messenger platforms. So the bulk mailing would work for me with
Mhm.
my emails. I'm just trying to see that's how small businesses can
Yeah.
benefit from your service. Is
Yes.
your service affordable to them?
Yes, that is very much available. One, we interlink the application that we've built for bulk emailing. We interlink it with your emails across, let's say Outlook, let's say Gmail, let's say Yahoo, all of them together,
Mm,
so that any
okay.
new contact that you will have will be stored in a template within the bulk emailing. That will include contacts like, of course, phone numbers and email addresses. Then we'll enable you create groups, for example, a group called customers. So anytime you
Mhm.
need to email your customers, you just need to choose that group called customers, choose a template of message that you would want to send to broadcast to them and send. So that process would have been, sending 1,000 emails is a whole day's work. But with the applications that we've built, less than 30 seconds and everybody gets the email.
What?
Yes.
Wow. But one has to set it up first. We'd have to go through and set up all of those emails, right?
Yeah, we do that for you.
You do that for me. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, so that's the work that you do. So
Yes.
then what happens with my data once it's in your hands?
Actually, it's not even in our hands. We create an account
Okay.
for you. We create an account for
Okay.
you. Of course,
Yeah.
in a way, will be in our hands. But of course, there is a lot of data protection in the world today. And our
Mhm.
systems, most of them are on blockchain technologies, a new technology that is.
Tell us what that means. Because you see, when you're using technology terms, if people don't know what that means, they won't ask you. So tell us, what is that? What is
Yes,
blockchain?
yes. It's a sequence of storage of data that that of course protects intuition of your data. And even if your data was to be hacked by anybody and they have it, the data is, decoded, is it is in a format that a normal person would not read. So even if someone
Okay,
took your data, they will not be able to tell what kind of a data it is. So that
I
way,
see.
the data is protected. All the same, your data is not stored in a stationary place. It is stored
Hmm.
on a mirrored platform, so that
I see.
this data is available to you. Even if one server is hacked, your data will have been mirrored into another server and another server and another server. That way, you can never lose your data because they can't hack all the servers at the same time.
Hmm. Hmm. Can you tell me, please? And I don't know if you can. How much would something like that cost?
Well, it's not very much costly. We
Is it like into? Well, let me just say this: Is it? Does it have to depend on the number of names you have, or what?
Yes, the number and the size of the data.
Okay, so then let's deal with it from that perspective. Let's
Mm,
say if the size of the data is 10,000 names, we're talking an SME, they may
yes,
have 10,000 through all of their email accounts. They might
yes.
have, let's say, 10,000 names. So what would
Mhm.
that look like?
For such kind of data, you would look at 50 to 100,000, depending on other parameters. Do you need to, is it a static data or is it, a one just storage? And then,
Well, what it is, well, I'm speaking really from myself. I have several email accounts.
mhm,
And altogether, I would say that I have maybe 10,000 names, some individuals, some companies. But if I
mhm.
wanted to do a bulk mail, if I
Okay,
wanted to
yeah.
do a bulk mailing to that 10,000 people, you said it would cost me 50,000
Yes, but
roughly?
for you, yes, but for you, will do a discount.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm asking because
Yeah,
when my entrepreneurs start asking me,
yes.
right? So it sounds like the SME has to have a certain amount of employees in order to engage your services, Albert, right? Because a
Yes.
small SME with 5 employees or less, I don't know if they could afford you.
Yes, of course, if you're a smaller, of course, a smaller SME,
Yeah.
you we would do for you, because most of
Mhm.
these small SMEs do not use a lot of emails. So what they go for is bulk SMS. And then for bulk SMS, we actually do not even collect any amount of money. We just ask them to register with the telcos, that is Safaricom or Airtel, for the send ID, so that the SMS going out goes with your name. And then
Okay.
these SMSs are as cheap as 50 cents, 60 cents, 70 cents. The most expensive is 80 cents. So we're
80
looking at
cents or 80 bob? 80 cents or 80 bob?
80 cents, 80 cents, less than a
80
shilling.
cents.
Yes. So if
Huh?
you're taking, yes, if you're taking a lot of SMSs, you can actually get them at 50 cents, 40 cents. So
Okay,
that
now
is,
when I hear the word cents, you make
yes.
me think of a different currency. I thought we used the word bob over here.
Yes, we use a shilling, but a shilling is the big, is 100 cents. So we're talking of 70 cents, less than a shilling, less than a bob.
Aha. Now that's what
Yes.
I wanted to hear you say.
Yes.
That's you. Do you see how I had to pull that out of you? Because when the public are hearing 50,000 shillings, they're thinking, I can't do any business with him.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So
indeed they can. So what you
we
do
have
is
a,
you take every customer and you just kind of like customize it to them. That's what
exactly,
I'm hearing.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly, exactly, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, very well. Well, we're going to look to see what is it that we may be able to do with you, because like I said, across all of my emails. But then wait a minute. See, emails and SMSs are two different things. We were talking
Exactly.
about emails, then we started
Yes.
talking about SMSs.
SMS. Yes.
So I was just trying to establish if it makes sense for a small business to come to you to do bulk emailing. Maybe that's the high cost one, and the SMS is cost less.
Yeah. Ideally, what we do is that we are in the space and we understand the client's needs. So normally when we meet with the clients, we listen to them, then
Okay.
advise them which service to take depending on uh, on their need. Because sometimes clients would think that they, need bulk emailing, to realize that they only need, SMSs only. Clients would think that they need an ERP, and the only thing that they need is a mobile application that will sort their processes. So
Mm-hmm.
ideally, what we do is that we will listen to what you do, then advise you on which product that suits you. Of course, looking at the budgets, but I can assure you that we have a
Uh-huh.
product for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out because we have some things that we want to work on
Mm.
over here, and I spend most of we do a lot of stuff inside of social media, and and I don't consider email necessarily as social media.
True.
Email is just a part of regular business,
True.
but we are not emailing as much as we used to. I've even done 10, 20-page documents on WhatsApp. I used to never do
Exactly.
that, but now
Exactly.
we do. Even on Messenger, you can actually attach a complete document now.
Exactly.
You see, so
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Is email becoming like the mail system with stamps? Is email on its way out?
Yes, it is. I
It
can say
is.
it is. Yes, it is. Ideally,
Wow.
we used to think that there are many things that are changing. People used to think Active Directory is the thing of the day.
Mhm.
Nowadays, we've moved out of that technology. We used to think that WhatsApp was a social, platform. It
Right.
has now graduated to actually a business, official business
Platform.
platform. Yeah, we're integrating these into all the
Uh-huh.
social pages so that
Okay.
people can communicate to businesses there. You ask
Mm.
for a quote from any supplier using WhatsApp, you get it faster than if you dropped, a mail. So people are actually adopting to the new ways of communication, because the idea is not for it to look official, but to deliver convenience easily to everybody. So we are actually moving away from, uh, the
Email.
mainstream, yes, email way of doing business. Yeah.
Hmm. And we
Mm.
have a comment here from one of our listeners that's tuning into the show. They said to you, uh, I think you see the quote there on the screen.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're saying
Yeah.
technology has taken over our world. It has changed the way we look as well as approach anything. So that's why I was having a conversation with you in reference to SMEs. I got another question for you, Albert. I have WhatsApp on my smartphone.
Yes.
One day, out of nowhere, WhatsApp Business appears on my phone. I didn't
Yes.
ask for it, I didn't
Yes.
install it, it just
Yes.
came on its own. Now I
Yes.
have two WhatsApps, and
Yes.
many of the numbers are the same.
Yes.
I don't like that. What can I do about that?
You can deactivate or uninstall the business WhatsApp. However, the reason why it has come that way is through AI, artificial intelligence. They
Yeah,
have looked they have looked at the use of that particular line, the number that you're using, and realize that you're doing more business with it than you're doing your personal use on that particular
okay.
line. And that's why they have, moved it from the social bit
Personal
into the
to
business.
business.
Yes, to,
So,
to,
but
to
but
business.
okay, but they can't decide for me who my business contacts are. See, a
Yeah,
lot of the names that are
yeah,
personal appear in business and in personal. So what
yes.
am I supposed to do with that?
Or ideally, you could dedicate a phone or a number for business, then transfer those numbers from the personal line into the business line and
But why
link the
do I
two.
have to wait? Why do I have to do the work? I didn't ask them to come on my phone, and I didn't ask them to try to select who is business and non-business. But
Yeah.
now, I, you
Mm.
know, if somebody comes in through the business account and they were previously personal, I got to go check both of them to see where the message is.
True.
So they're just giving me more work. I don't
You
like that. How can I
you can
not? How can I
you
make it work?
you can uninstall one. You can uninstall the business one. It's just you go to the application on your mobile phone, click on uninstall, then remove it. It will not appear again.
Okay. So
Yeah.
then my next question would be for some of the accounts that are business accounts, will they be deleted when I delete the business or will they
No,
crawl over to personal?
they will remain in the personal. They will remain in the personal line.
So all I have to do to uninstall it is to go to the Play Store and look up WhatsApp Business and uninstall.
Yes.
Okay, now, Albert, let me say this to you as a person who teaches business to entrepreneurs. What we just discussed is something that you should be telling small businesses all the time. You
True.
should have them solve their little problems. They don't know what to do when those two things appear. It has really ticked me off, but I didn't know what to do with it. But because
Mhm.
I know how to ask questions, you just answered it for me. If you had a blog, Albert, and you said to the small entrepreneur, do you now have two WhatsApp accounts? Do you know why it happened? We can help you straighten it out. People would call you to find out how. That would lead you to more business.
True.
Do you follow me?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm saying what we've spent 15 minutes talking about should be a commercial from you to small businesses, because there's stuff always happening that we don't understand. And you can
Mm.
say, I'll help you with that. And they may become a potential customer.
Very
Because
true.
when you solve issues for small business, they don't forget.
True.
They don't forget. And even some of the things we've talked about in relationship to the PC, in relationship to an SME, right? In
Mm.
relationship to their technology needs. You have to explain to them why they need your service. Oh my goodness. It's time for us to end the show today. And I'm only going to leave out now because I actually have another meeting happening right now. We didn't get a chance to say goodbye to anyone, but we want to say right now this is BongaDadaBonga every Thursday, 7 p.m. Nairobi, Kenya time or East Africa time. And that hits the New York around 12 noon every Thursday at 7 p.m. Please tune in again. Albert, thank you for being on the BongaDadaBonga show today. And what you've explained to us is very good and very good for small business. We're definitely going to have you back on the show because I think you have a lot more to share than you gave us today.
Thank
But
you.
we thank you for being here.
Thank you
Coach,
very
any
much.
closing words?
Yeah, I would say that it is time to embrace technology. Technology is the way out. So let's not think that technology is for the big companies. Technology is for
Mhm.
everybody. Thank you.
Very good. Very good. Any closing words, Coach Rukaya?
Mute. Uh, yes, thank you, family and friends and loved ones for tuning in to Bunga Dada Bunga. And as you have become aware, you never know what type of new information you will find on Bunga Dada Bunga, which will empower you business wise. Albert, we thank you so much. We appreciate you. We thank God for you. And you must return so that we can really arm ourselves in this new technological advancement that is moving rapidly and that we must catch up. Thank you, Queen, for Bunga Dada
All
Bunga
right.
and Queen Mother Speaks, and we shall meet again, God willing, next week.
Yes, we'll see you
Bunga
next
Dada
week.
Bunga.
Thank you again. This is Bonga Dada Bonga. Bonga Dada
Bunga
Bonga.
Dada Bunga.
Bonga Dada
Bunga
Bonga
Dada
Dada Bonga
Bunga
Dada
Dada
Bonga.
Bunga Dada
Bonga
Bunga.
Dada Bonga. Bonga Dada Bonga. Bonga Dada Bonga.